Thank you.
It's now 5 to 9.
Now, Martin Taylor is an internationally acclaimed musician whose unique style has earned him a reputation as one of the world's finest solo jazz guitarists. He's performed across the globe and worked with a wide range of artists from Bill Wyman, George Harrison, Sasha Distel and Jamie Cullum.
He's just released his 100th album. 100th album. And fittingly, it's a tribute to another jazz legend born 100 years ago, Django Reinhardt. We'll talk to Martin in just a moment. First, here's a look at him play.
Oh, Martin joins us now. Hello, and
Hello.
obviously you've brought in your guitar with you for us today.
Never goes anywhere. I never go anywhere without it.
Really? Everywhere?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
This one in particular?
I've got a few of them. I've got a few of the guitars. I've got another one that's more or less identical to this one. And so I always feel better, actually. When I'm holding a guitar, I always actually feel more comfortable than actually sitting without it. It's like getting up and doing public speaking. I find it really difficult to actually stand there. If I have a guitar, it's like...
Well, to be honest, you haven't had much time to put it down if you've released 100 albums. 100 albums, that's how many a year? I mean, it's...
well, I made my first album in 1978.
Right.
And then, so 100 albums, my own albums, and then albums that I've collaborated with other people as well over the years.
So 3 a year you've worked on average?
Well, it must have been. It must have been something like that. I think some years it was more than that, and then there was a couple of years with nothing, and then... yeah, it took me by surprise, actually. It wasn't until I looked on the website. And
gosh, I've been busy.
How many of these?
Yeah.
Wow.
And tell us about the latest one.
The latest album, well, this would be the 100th birthday, 100th anniversary of Django Reinhardt, the great gypsy guitar player. And I have a connection in as much as that was the music that I started to hear when I was a kid. My dad used to play all those records. And then when I was 23, I started working with Django's musical partner, Stefan Grappelli. And I toured with Stefan for 11 years, so I'm kind of steeped in this music. And in the early 90s, I formed my own band called Spirit of Django. And we made 3 albums together, that band. And we've got back together again for this special year and released this new album.
You have earned plaudits from lots of people, including Pat Metheny, for instance, the musician, and you have a unique playing style, I'm told, which involves mastering the rhythm on the bass string as well as the rest. Explain how that works.
Well, you see, I'm self-taught. I never had any lessons, and so I started playing guitar when I was 4 years old, and I didn't have anyone to teach me. My dad could play a few chords. My dad was actually a jazz musician. He was a bass player. So he showed me a few chords, and he said, well, there you go, son, on you go. And I just kind of picked it up listening to records. And I heard a lot of records of jazz piano players, like the early days, like Fats Waller and Art Tatum. And I thought, I'd love to be able to play that on the guitar. So I learnt from listening to records, and I even listened to some things and tried to learn how to play them, and then realised they were actually guitar duets. I thought it was one guitar player, so I was struggling away.
At the same time.
Crikey, this boy can play. And
I didn't know. I think one of the first things I learned to play really was actually listening to a record, and it turned out to be 3 guitar players on it. And I was thinking to myself, wow, this is difficult, this guitar playing, you know. So it just carried on.
So how does it work, this special technique of yours?
Well, I play...
Shows?
When I play solo, I play fingerstyle guitar, like a classical guitar player. So I can very often play, I play the melody, and I'll also play the bass note as well, and chords in the middle. Right. So I can play something like... So I can actually get little chords going on as well.
That's very different from your average G, F, D, isn't it?
It's based on guitar playing, so it's the left hand and the right hand of the piano, but played on guitar.
It's wonderfully soothing. And just going back to Django, he had an extraordinary history, didn't he? Because he was burned very badly in his teens, which affected. He had to have 2 fingers amputated. I think.
Well, no,
Is
he
that
actually
right?
he'd been playing for quite a while, and for a long time, and he was already like a virtuoso guitarist. And there was a fire in his caravan, and he was burnt all down the right side of his body. And what happened was, no, sorry, his left side of the body. And these fingers were actually, the tendons became kind of, so his fingers sort of went in like this. So he could only really play with 2 fingers most of the time. And one of the very interesting things is when I play a lot of his music with my band, sometimes I play some of the similar things that he plays. That it's actually easier to play with 2 fingers. So it was a great example of somebody overcoming what you would say was a disability, actually came to his advantage. So he created a unique way of playing.
How much practice do you do to get to play like that?
Well, I used to play a lot when I was a kid, but one of the things I learned to do was kind of internalize playing. So when I was at school and I should have been working, I was looking out the window and I was thinking music in my mind, and I'd start thinking about how I could play that on the guitar. So when I got home, I used to pick the guitar up. I'd already figured it out in my mind, and I still do that now because I'm touring a lot of the time. I'm traveling all over the place, and I'm in aeroplanes and airports, and I think about, I wonder what I'll play tonight, and I'll go through it in my mind, and when I pick the guitar up, I can then play.
You opened this. I was looking on your website last night. You've got this Music Academy, which is an international, and I was just wondering. It just says Martin speaking Japanese, and so we saw you speaking a bit of Japanese for your Japanese audience. I mean, it's incredible. Now that you're very big there, aren't you?
Well, I play in Japan quite often. I actually don't speak Japanese very well. I can speak a little bit.
It was good from what I was listening to.
Well, I've learned enough to kind of ingratiate myself with the local population whenever I'm playing there by saying a bit of Japanese. And I think people always appreciate it when you try and speak.
Can we see you play anywhere? Are you on tour at the moment? Or?
At the moment, I'm doing 3 nights with my group Spirit of Django at the Pizza Express Jazz Club in Dean Street, Soho. And then we have a number of festivals, all jazz festivals in the UK and around Europe through the summer. We've got the Glasgow International Jazz Festival, Scarborough, always a number of dates. Find those on my website.
You're the first person to be awarded an honorary doctorate for the guitar from the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama.
Yes, I'm just about to pick up my honorary doctorate in July.
Congratulations.
That's hardly deserved.
Well, I'm very pleased. I actually already had an honorary doctorate from the University of the West of Scotland, and so when I got this, my wife said, "Does that mean you're Doctor?" Now, so it sounds like the beginning of a very corny joke, doesn't it?
Obviously, they're very fond of you.
Dr. Martin, thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Lovely to see you.
Thank you very much.
Timothy West will be here in just a moment.
First, though, a last quick look at what's happening where you are.